Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Kudaina Mikami, also known as Miss K. I am a practitioner of Western European mysticism, a full time tarot reader, and your TMTD trainer, Meta at Eva Company. And I welcome you in this wonderful course. Before we actually begin, I like to share something. I just can't help to notice that there is a rapid increase in the numbers of people who are showing early symptoms of deep anxiety and depressions nowadays. This is because a lot of them has no one to share their worries, and no one dares to give them the support they need in order to overcome these early symptoms of mental disturbances. But did you know that tarot card can be used as a therapeutic tool to assist someone's difficulties by gaining insights from it? I bet you I bet not everyone of you know about it. But no worries. Um, in this course, I will introduce you in tarot cards and also give you helpful ideas on how you can interpret it yourself. Now, let's begin by understanding what is tarot card anyways. All right. Tarot card is a type of divination using a standard deck of 78 cards. A standard tarot deck consists of 22 major arcana cards and 58 minor arcana cards. So, 78 cards in standard deck. So, the numbers might change depending on what deck you have with you. But generally, no, a standard tarot deck will have 78 cards, no, consisting 22 major arcana and 58 minor arcana. So, divination came from the word divinity, which means to divine or to be influenced by the divine. So, this means that when you're actually reading the card, you're actually being influenced by the divine itself, or you're interpreting the message of the divine itself through the cards that you are reading. Okay? Tarot reading is not specifically about predicting the future, but seeking answers for what is happening, why it is happening, and how do you make things happen. So, a lot of people think that tarot card is just used to do a fortune telling or to predict the future. But in reality, it's more therapeutic. It's more like uncovering um, what is actually is happening in the present time, why it is happening, what's the reason behind it, and how do you overcome it? How do you make things happen? No, so definitely, tarot card is good at giving insights to the clients, no, who are experiencing challenges, no. So it's not just to predict the future itself, no. Though it is true that you can use tarot cards to see the nearest possible things to happen, and with that also with the process of tarot reading you can also see what's the best way to deal with this nearest things to happen. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to understand what is arcana. So arcana is the plural of Latin word arcanum, which means profound secret. Considered as the secret of nature, tarot cards are considered to represent a collection of the secrets and occult knowledge that underlie and explain our universe. So, definitely, tarot card is just a pile of decoded secrets of the universe and the nature itself. So, it allows us to understand more the secret of this universe, no, and how to use it in our own favor, no. So it consists of this occult knowledge or this hidden knowledge, hidden wisdom, um, beyond or behind our universe. So in the arcana, we have major arcana, and then we also have the minor arcana. So let's go ahead and start with um, major arcana first. So major arcana is also known as trump cards, is a 22 card set with the tarot card that is considered to be the core and the foundation of the deck. These 22 cards reveal the messages about the bigger picture and are often impactful. For this reason, they often set the tone of the whole reading. Okay, so the major arcana are consist of 22 cards, and these 22 cards are considered as the foundations of the tarot cards. So without the major arcana, then the tarot card will not be completed, of course, and it will lose its foundations. And the major arcana represents um, the bigger pictures or the bigger energies, the dominating energies that are surrounding um, in the client's life or the existing time. So oftentimes when you see a major arcana in a pile or in a spread of the cards, no, the reading, it might signify the major event that is happening in someone's life or on the client's life. So, major arcana, these cards can be viewed as a storyline that tells of a spiritual travel. In other words, these cards tell the story of humanity's spiritual evolution into enlightenment. Okay, so the major arcana basically is a journey of a person or a journey of a human in, into spiritual enlightenment. So each of the card in the major arcana, from the Fool to the universe or to the world, represents the travel that we are undergoing while we are living in this world. So from being a child up to being in the middle age, and then the old age, and then up to the point of death. So that is being depicted um, in the major arcana, our spiritual travel, no, the representation of our travel to the enlightenment. Okay, now we have the minor arcana. So the minor arcana are also known as lesser arcana or minor trumps, consist of the remaining 58 cards in the deck. These cards often address what's happening in your daily life, the small wins, struggles, interactions, and thoughts that you face regularly. So, if the major arcana is the major events, the dominating energy, the minor arcana naman are those little things that are happening in a day-to-day basis. So it represents, it could be your finances, it could be an experience that is happening in a daily basis, right? So, on the example, we have your small wins, struggles, interactions, and thoughts that you face regularly. Okay, so the minor arcana consist of 40 pip or numerical cards, also known as this starts with the ace to 10 per suit, and 16 court cards, king, queen, knight, page, pursuit according to Rider-Waite version. The name of the court cards may vary per tarot deck. Okay, so it says here that it consists of 40 pips. So um, this so-called pip are these numbers that start with the ace to 10 per suits, and these suit cards are represented by um, page, or rather pentacles, wands, um, swords, and cups. So it that's why it's 40, because 10 each, 10 pip or numerical cards each suit cards. And then we also have 16 court cards, which are queen, king, knight, page, no, depending on what type of deck you have. But on the Rider Waite version, it is called, or the names of these court cards are normally king, queen, knight, page. So the names might change depending on what deck or what theme of the deck you have. Now we have the four suits of minor arcana. So the minor arcana consist of four suits: wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. So the first one, we have wands, are associated with the element of fire and often represent things like positions, job, ambitions, activity, passion, inspiration, and willpower. So I normally see the wands as a representation of someone's career. So if a card is in the suit of a wands, that means that that card has something to do, or it's is telling something about the career. Okay, and then we have cups, suit, cups. So cups are associated with the element of water. They often represents one's emotional state and can refer to people relationships and how you interact towards others and your environment. So we always see the suit of cups as a representation of someone's relationship and emotions. And we also have the swords. Swords are associated with the element of air. It represents our capacity for thinking and logic, signifying what our rational mind says, as well as things that are related to communication, sometimes conflict. All right, so we always see swords as a representation of someone's challenges, someone's mindset, someone's possible conflict in life. And last, we have the suit of pentacle, are associated with the element of earth, is often represented or represents as our sense of resilience, our responsibility, and our reliability. Usually talking about resources that we have, our bodies, finances, and our sense of security. All right, so we always see pentacles as a representation of someone's finances. Then we also have the court cards. So the court card of the minor arcana, also known as face of the cards, are generally used to describe a card that depicts a person as opposed to the pip cards. So there are different ways to interpret them. It could be interpreted as people, as personalities, as situation, as level of maturity. So if this court cards appears on the pile, it could represent a specific person, a real person, or a person in someone's life, no, on the client's life. It could also indicate gender, if it's king, if it's a man, then if it's a queen, it's probably a lady. So it may represent people, personality, situations, and level of maturity. Then so just like the any other discipline, reading a card or set of cards in tarot should be learned and practiced to be gained proficiency. The reader should have a basic understanding and comprehension of the meaning of the cards, be it major or minor arcana. So, of course, if you wanted to learn tarot reading, then you gotta have to learn it academically, right? So you must have a basic understanding of what's the interpretation of the major arcanas and the minor arcanas, which are actually available on the guidebook that comes with the deck. So when you buy a specific deck, it comes with a guidebook, and it will provide you the meanings of each card. So when you check for the meaning of the card, you can read the meaning. It's gonna be like a whole paragraph, but you just have to get what do you call this, um, um, the the keywords that are associated to that card, so that it will be easier for you to remember it. Okay. So the following slides will demonstrate the basics of reading a tarot card. Okay. So and on this part, we're gonna do a little bit of or we're gonna be showing you on how to interpret the card in a simple way. Okay. So number one, look and describe. So the first step on interpreting the tarot card itself is to look and describe the card itself, right? So we have to remember that when we are interpreting the card, um, it's like interpreting a piece of art. So different people might have different interpretations. So don't be afraid to interpret the card based on how you see it, how you understand it, what energy you pick up from just looking into the card itself. So, in the number one example we have here, the card is described as a regal and elegant lady sitting on a luxurious seat. She looked very comfortable, sitting in the middle of a field of wet. In the background is a lush forest, right? So you basically just describe what's going on in the card itself. The number two, we have recall the keywords or meanings associated with the Empress card. The keywords may vary from one individual to another. So, just like what I told you earlier, different people will have different interpretation. But the keywords are actually also found in the guidebook that comes with the deck itself. So it says here love, beauty, happiness, pleasure, success, prosperity, completion, good fortune, nature's bounty, elegance, luxury, creativity, laziness, um, debunkery, passive passivity, right? So number three, feel the imagery, sense the circle of thoughts, images, impressions, or insights that begin to cluster on your mind. Okay, so now try to feel the imagery itself. How do you feel? What do you feel when you gaze onto the card itself? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel sad? And what are the impressions that are coming to you that you're picking up? Now, the insight that you're picking up based on the collection of keywords that you have accumulated from the card itself, and based on how you define the card itself, and also based on looking into the card itself, what cluster of thoughts are you gaining? Okay, then for example, we have here generation, creation. So these are the cluster of thoughts that you've accumulated. You're gonna go ahead and try to uh, specify those cluster of thoughts. So in the example we have here, um, the person see the Empress as the mother, fertile, good fortune, fruit, ripeness, generation, and creation. Okay, and the number four, find the connecting thread of the cluster of thoughts generate in your on your mind. This connecting thread is the general idea that unites the thoughts that were formed. All right, so after creating a cluster of thoughts out of the card itself, you know, from your own interpretation and from the keywords that you have, it's about time that you find the connection or the connecting thread between those thoughts, and then shrink it into one idea, right? For example, we have here generation, creation, ripeness, fruit, mother, fertile, and good fortune. So we can bring it down into fertility, producing or generating something, or result of fruit or fruition. Okay. Then number five, we have make an intuitive projection, relating the symbol to a particular situation in life by letting the connection thread make a story with the inquiry or question, or the inquiry or the question. So this time one, you're gonna go ahead and make a story out of the connecting thread, right? Out of the idea that you have formed out of those connecting thread. Now you make a story out of that based on the question of the query, right? Based on the question of your client. So if it's related to relationship or finances, then you will have to base your story, the making of your story, on that question. So, example here, if the inquiry is about consumption, combine the connecting thread with the question. So, you can say, I sense in this card the idea of fertility and fruition. So, this card signifies that you will soon bear a child. It is a good card since it guarantees pregnancy. Then we also have here, if the inquiry is about success or business, you can say, I sense this card that the business you're planning is like to produce good results, just like the process of conception. You should be careful since you might lose the fruit or baby during the process. Okay? So, and the number six, you can also pick details in the card that caught the most of your attention to add to the flavor of the reading, right? So, but let's go back first here. So, notice the beginning of the sentence of each example. It says, I sense. So that means it's something that you've sensed, something that you feel, that you've picked up. So it's gonna be depending on someone's interpretation, someone's what energy, what thought is the reader is able to perceive out of the process the reader done. Okay, so you with this one naman with the number six, no. So for example, we have here you gotta have to find or pick up a specific details that caught your attention the most. So on the example, the field of wet beneath her feet instantly caught your attention when you saw this card. All right, so in this example, the reader um, was able to notice the width, right? So the field of width beneath the feet of the empress. So ito yung nakakuha ng attention niya. And this means that your intuition may have guided you to this detail specifically. It can signify a lot of things depending on the reader, such as plentiful harvest or termination of something. Okay, so you gotta have to pay attention on what are those symbols that caught your attention first, because that will probably that's probably your intuition telling you something. Okay, so the method of interpretation or reading shown is not the only way of doing tarot divination. It can vary from one reader to another. Nevertheless, the method given is a good example. The reader is free to modify the process to his or her volition. Okay, so yun, this is just one of the example on how you can interpret the card. There are multiple of ways to interpret the cards. No, this is not the only one. Okay, so you can always go ahead and try to check others way of interpretation, but this is one way of interpreting it, and also an effective way. And I hope you're able to digest um, the lessons, right? So I hope you're able to learn how to interpret the cards in a simpler way. You just have to put a more intuitive side on your reading. So aside from being academic to it, which you can study the meaning of the card by collecting its um, keywords, you also have to start learning how to trust your own intuition, because it's also a big part when you're reading a tarot, when you're reading a tarot card. And also, don't be afraid to interpret the card. Again, like just like what I've said earlier, tarot card is like a piece of art, so different person will have different interpretation. Okay, all right, and that calls for the end of our course. and I hope you were able to digest the lessons that we had today. Once again, this is Miss K, and you have a great day.